All right. So welcome back to Kids Talk Sports. I'm your host, Abhay. Today we have a guest in Cash. Today we'll be talking about the first round of the NBA brackets. I know we're a little late because Brooklyn's already leading 2-0, Phoenix is leading 1, and Atlanta's leading 1. So I guess we'll go from left to right, Cash. So west to east. The first game was the Jazz and Memphis Grizzlies. What did you think about this series?
I thought it was going to be a blowout, but obviously Ja Morant showed up a bit, and I wasn't expecting it. But also Donovan Mitchell not being present for most of all the games, I think added to them winning maybe one. But
yeah, I think I think he missed the first, and then Ja Morant went off. That's where you got your one win from. I think the rest he was there, but it was like he wasn't as healthy as you would want him to be. I think so. I mean, it shows you how much depth that the Jazz have. Because they have Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson is the sixth man of the year, so they have a good bench. Honestly, I thought Memphis might get one because, and it's not that they're a bad team; it's just they're a really young team, and that means they have a good future. John Morant's a star. Jordan Clarkson's a really good role player. Rudy Gobert is a really good defensive player and all around overall player. But Utah and Memphis, it was definitely there were some close games that just Utah pulled out. I mean, this 4-1 doesn't really tell the whole thing. But Utah ended up winning, so they move on to the next round. For the next one, we got Clippers and Dallas Mavericks. What did you think about this one, Cash?
I knew Clippers were going to come out of it, but the Mavs, honestly, they surprised me. I know a lot of people said Mavs would be making the finals, but I mean,
really, people said that. Yeah, I agree. For a short while there, after the Clippers were down 2-0, because Dallas took the first two games, I thought it was going to be a 5-game or a sweep. But obviously, nobody won a home game until the final one, which is Game 7. Luka went off. He averaged 36 and 10 and 9, which is almost a triple-double, which is crazy. And this is the same thing with Memphis, except Dallas is in a better position. They have superstars. They're pretty young, and they have a bright future. But with the Clippers, they just have too much talent. They have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, Reggie Jackson, all those players, and they still. I mean, I'm surprised they went to 7 with all the talent that the Clippers have. That's ridiculous to me that you have some of the best players. I think Paul George is definitely a top 10 player in my eyes, and Kawhi Leonard's a top 5 players in my eyes. So with that, and it takes one superstar, one really good superstar, don't get me wrong, but one superstar to take you to 7 games. And I think Porzingis played really bad in this series. He was not really good at all. It's just, it was a good series. It was the only one that went to 7 games, so it was very entertaining. But, it is what it is. Clippers move on. They would face Jazz in the next round. Denver and Portland. I know Cash didn't really watch much of this series, so I'll just go over it very quickly. Denver won 4-2, but Dame Lillard went off. He had 12 threes in one game, so that's an NBA playoff record, and they still lost. That just tells you the Portland Trail is right there. But, they're looking for a new head coach now after the season is over. Jokic played really well. Michael Porter Jr. played really well, and Austin Rivers showed up a little bit, but I thought that Portland was going to win the series just because they had Dame Dalla, and that's a lot. That's enough, especially if he's hitting 12 threes and you're still losing in double overtime. Um, no offense to Jokic, but he's a good player. But you have Damian Lillard, and to Jokic, it's like he's a center. He's not the one who initiates the offense, who has the ball, who runs the plays. You know, Jokic can still get you 30, but Lillard can get you 40 consistently. And I thought with CJ McCollum and Carmelo Anthony coming off the bench and Norman Powell and everybody, I thought they were going to win this series in 6 games, but it ended up being the other way with Denver winning. So it's just Denver wins. Congratulations to them. They're definitely deserving of it because they played a really tough team, but Denver won and they move on to the next round. The final series here is Phoenix and LA Lakers. And I know Cash has a lot to say about this one. And with LeBron James, a lot to say. So why don't you go ahead?
I can't believe it, but honestly, Lakers, their team is not as developed as it used to be. I know me and Abhay feel a little bit different about LeBron, but I don't think you can't really put the Lakers losing in the first round on LeBron's back. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis being injured, not being at his full health. Mm-hmm. Also, that just kind of, I think it did it for him. And then also we had Caruso. Kuzma didn't show up at all.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm pretty sure we knew he wasn't. From there, I mean, we had Schroeder, but we didn't.
He wasn't there for a couple of games either.
Exactly. We don't have everyone playing at their best potential or at their best at all. And I think LeBron going off, you think LeBron would go off. See, I'm very mixed feelings about this because I expected more from LeBron, but you can't put it all on him. It's just sad because this year LeBron season.
Yeah, I kind of see where you come from. By the playoffs, everybody should be by their full form, their full potential. You played a whole regular season, and you should be playing by your full potential. Kuzma wasn't there. Kuzma didn't show up. Caruso barely showed up at all. Schroeder showed up more to the end of the series, but that didn't help in winning games. So that didn't help. I will say to the Anthony Davis injury, Chris Paul did get injured earlier this series too. So it's not like, Chris Paul was healthy as well. Not to take anything away from that, but Phoenix, Devin Booker went off. He's a real star. Putting up 47 in game 6, after Chris Paul getting injured, he had to step it up, and he did, and that's what stars do. They step it up. Not anything to LeBron with Anthony Davis getting injured or anything. He tried to do as much as he could to do what it took to win. And it's not like they got swept. I think it's just that with LeBron never getting exited out in the first round, it's pretty extinct or it's unusual to us what happened.
I mean, what do you think has changed with the Suns? Because
that Chris Paul signing was one of the biggest steals of the free agency because Chris Paul had, if you guys remember from last year, he took the Thunder to the playoffs. And that Thunder, look at the Thunder team now. They're trash. They're like one of the worst teams in the league. And that just tells you how much of a difference Chris Paul made. And, it helped develop other players because Chris Paul makes everybody around him better. He's a great passer. He's a great game manager, and he's a good scorer. So
that's the big reason why they're even close to having any kind of position to play in the finals.
Yeah, that's basically the reason. It also helps Devin Booker because not all the load is on him, like you said about LeBron and Anthony Davis. Because with Anthony Davis on the floor, there's less load for LeBron to take. So it's the same thing with the Suns. If Chris Paul is there to hold, dribble the ball and manage the game, there's nothing on. It's not that much pressure on Devin Booker to score every single time, which was what he had to do in the past because he was mainly the only star. So it's kind of like the same situation there, but if you understand where I'm coming from, like that's basically how I see it. LeBron, he tried to do his part. I think his supporting cast wasn't enough, and Anthony Davis being injured definitely didn't help. So Cash hit most of the points, but So I guess we might as well do the second round because we're on the West. It's my pencil washing. Okay, so Utah and LA. Who do you pick and in how many games?
It's going to be series, and with the Jazz.
Hey, can you say that again? You kind of cut out.
I think it's going to be a 6-game series with the Jazz.
So Jazz in 6 is what you're saying. Okay. Hey, that's a good prediction. It's going to be a good test though, because the Jazz and Donovan Mitchell are going to have to go up against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I forgot Rudy Gobert, but they're going to have to go up against a really tough team with they have a lot of depth, kind of like the Jazz. So it's going to be an interesting series. It's definitely going to be a good series. So the series hasn't started yet. You can see it's 0-0, unlike the other ones, but I hope it's a good series. I wanted to go to 7, but if it goes to 6, I won't be that mad. Denver and Phoenix, who you got and in how many games? Make sure to acknowledge that Phoenix is already leading 1-0.
Okay. So I think Denver in 5.
Denver in 5 or Phoenix in 5?
Denver.
You're picking Denver in 5. That's a bold pick. Bold. Yeah. So you're saying that Denver wins the next 4 games is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Hey, that's a bold prediction. I'll give you credit for that. That's a bold prediction. It's an unusual prediction, but it's a bold prediction. For me, let me switch the color real quick. For me, I will also say Jazz in 6. I like that prediction. This one, I don't see it at all. I'm picking Phoenix in 6. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change it to Phoenix in 7, just because I don't know how Chris Paul is gonna be after like a couple of games. And also, coaches make adjustments, players make adjustments to the game. So you never know what could happen with that. So the next series, Phoenix and Washington. What did you think of? You didn't watch that one. Okay. So quick rundown. Philly, when Joel Embiid was on the floor, was dominant. But when Joel got hurt in game 4, that's when Washington took a dub, which is kind of the same thing that happened with the Utah-Memphis series. And then the rest of the cast, Joel Embiid wasn't there for the 5th game, but Philly ended up taking the next win just because, Westbrook and Beal are just not enough to be the Sixers. So, Philly moves on. It was not that good of a series, but, Knicks and Atlanta. I know Cash got a lot to talk about this one too. A lot of Julius Randle slander, but you know how it is. If you're on the Knicks, you're gonna get a lot of slander. So you go first.
Knicks are terrible.
Yeah.
I've been saying this. I said Julius Randle was not going to carry that team in any way. He might have a little potential maybe next season, but yeah, I knew there was no chance of them even sniffing the finals.
What did you think about Trae Young?
He went off, and I was super happy to see it.
You think it's been long overdue?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Trae Young impressed me.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that stuff. Julius Randle didn't show up. D Rose did show up in a lot of games, but eventually he just got worn out. But I know you said D Rose might fall off too, but he didn't. I mean, he did in the final one. I don't think he got played that much though in the final one. So he still didn't play well. No excuses. But Trae Young, they both were really like trash talky, like they're competitive. But Atlanta was able to back it up with their basketball play. So I think that Julius Randle had a really tough series. He couldn't make one shot to save his life. I'm surprised they even won one game in general. But that Atlanta team, they're special and they have a really bright future as well. So props to them. They moved on to the semifinals and yeah. So Milwaukee and Miami, this was one of the more disappointing series. What did you think?
If I'm being honest, the Heat have been very disappointing this season.
Yes.
Compared to what they did last season. Uh, with the series, I knew it was going to be a sweep. I didn't think they were going to do as bad as they actually did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I've been following Milwaukee this entire season, and they've been doing great. So I didn't expect anything less.
Yeah. What did you think about the main stars for Miami, which is Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo? They didn't really show up, did they?
Bam, he's I don't think he's very good anymore. The team has showed that. Jimmy Butler, yeah, I
feel like he was supposed to be the leader of that team like he was last year, but he didn't really show it, did he?
No, not at all. Yeah.
And you got to give props to Milwaukee because Giannis, he adapted to what they did last year and how they tried to stop him in the bubble. For those who don't remember, Milwaukee was a 1 seed and Miami beat them in 5. So you have to give credit where credit's due to the coaching staff, to the players, to the management for making trades for like Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker, more mentally tough and defensive guys. So you got to give props where it's due. It was just Miami looked like a high school team. Like it was bad. Milwaukee almost hit like 15 threes in the first quarter one game. Like it was ridiculous. So,
yeah.
Milwaukee won. It was really that was the worst series out of all of them.
Yeah, I will say the duo between looking deadly. It's impressive.
Say that again, you cut out.
The duo. It looks really good.
Yeah, I know. It does look good. I'm assuming you said Giannis and Chris Middleton, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you cut out twice, but I can understand where you're coming from because I don't think you'd be talking about Miami right now. So it does look good. I still feel like they still need a true point guard, one really fast, really savvy point guard, kind of like a Trae Young type player who's slippery and can hit those shots. Because I'm not relying on Chris Middleton in my clutch time. I mean, he did make a couple of shots in that series, but I'm not trusting that every single time. So this final series, which is Brooklyn and Boston, I feel like this could have been a way better series. But Kemba was injured for a couple of games for Boston, and so was Jaylen Brown. So obviously that gives the odds to Brooklyn, and they already had the odds because they have Kyrie, arguably one of the best point guards in the league, James Harden, who's arguably the best shooting guard in the league, and then you have Kevin Durant, who's arguably the best player in the world, and that's how it is. And I'm surprised that Boston won one game. I think Jason Tatum scored like 50 in that game, which is crazy. He tried hard. He gave it his best effort, but it's just too much talent and too much potential on that Brooklyn team that Boston and Jason Tatum couldn't even do anything. Like, it's just sad that what this Brooklyn team can do. And, I thought they might have swept the entire playoffs. I'm surprised they even got one game in, because those three players, I thought that Brooklyn wouldn't be able to work together because they're all ball needy, but they've been able to work it out. And Steve Nash is a really good head coach. I'm surprised nobody signed him up to this point, because he made them work together. So it was not that great of a series, but it could have been more, is what I'm saying. So to cap it off, we'll finish this Eastern Conference semifinals predictions. As you can see, Atlanta leads 1-0. We're making this video on I don't even know what the date is. The date is I think it's June 8th. Yeah. So Atlanta plays today. That's why it's a little outdated for those of you who are watching it right now. But Philly and Atlanta, who you got in how many games?
I think Philly's lead in 6.
Philly in 6. Good prediction. And Milwaukee and Brooklyn, you can already see Brooklyn leads 2-0. So
I think Milwaukee in 7.
You're making some bold prediction at the bottom. I'm gonna say that right now. So I have Brooklyn and let me change the color. I have Brooklyn in 6 Philly in 6 as well, just because at the end of that game probably gives them a bunch of momentum because they almost came back from like 17 in the fourth quarter. And I'm going to say Brooklyn in 6. I think Milwaukee's pretty good, but they're not good as Brooklyn. So, Cash, you got anything? I guess if you have anything else to say, we can just cap it off.
I think that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe. We have a bunch of videos coming out as it is summer vacation and we have more time with no school. So thanks for watching and see you next time.